Hey Mojoholics, welcome to Inside Watch Mojo, episode 23. Welcome as always.
Welcome guys.
Okay, so in the spirit of our top 5 format, we have number 5, the update on the Spanish clips.
Yeah, so quick rundown. Basically, we actually already did a couple of samples and about 20 or so Mojoholics, Spanish-speaking Mojoholics from everywhere from Spain to Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Venezuela. You see how I did the map in reverse for you guys to see? That was pretty impressive. People ask why we use a pen. It's like a conductor. That's what we use it for. Anyway, let's get back on track.
Did they really ask that?
Somebody said, why do you guys have pens if you don't use them? Anyway, 20 plus people took a look at it and overall liked the neutral accent, which is the challenge when you're producing Spanish-speaking clips. So we're going to do that. I just want to once explain the method to the madness. So when it comes to the titles, because like Wolverine is Gepardo in one country and Lobesno apparently in another country, we're going to just keep the original title for any trademark.
Like
or
the English title.
English title,
Okay.
or original. If we're talking about French movies, it'll
Right.
be the original French name. Just because if we're doing a montage of like 5 different movie scenes, it would be crazy to flash original English name, name in Mexico, name in Spain, name in Peru. It just would be too confusing. So just for that reason, we're just going to keep the original title. That's for the titles in the lower thirds. But for the sound bites of movies and TV shows this is what the board decided together. It's not just my decision. We're going to basically translate the sound bites and subtitle.
Okay.
We're not going to dub it because that would be a bit weird since it's not the official dub. And then for the voiceover, so your voice, Dan's voice, Matt's voice, anyone else who does voiceover, that will be dubbed in what basically is a very professional neutral voice. That's that. So we're basically going to start off sometime in the next week or two with 1 per day. So that's 30 clips a month, which is already not bad. And then we're going to up it to 40 a month, 50 a month. So these are indeed translations of our existing videos. We will eventually also do, based on other feedback we got, straight up top 10 lists new that would be of interest to the Latin community, Spanish-speaking community. So it could be top 10 Spanish directors. It could be lots of different things like that, like dance styles and all that. Yeah. And we are looking for, ideally, a Montreal-based bilingual English and Spanish community manager who could kind of be like a Espanol Rebecca.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're interested, send us your resume and we'll take a look.
Okay,
We get shit done. I mean, we talked about this 2 weeks ago and we're WatchMojo Espanol already.
Yeah, we hit the ground running.
All right.
So number 4, we did top 10 traders
Yes.
in history. Or
Yes.
did we call it in history or just top 10 traders? I don't know.
Matter.
It kind of does. But anyway.
Sure.
And number 1,
Actually, it's true.
spoiler alert, was Judas Iscariot.
Okay, let me ask you something. I walk up to you, boo, scare you, and I go, first word that comes to mind when you hear the word traitor, what is it?
Judas.
Okay, or?
Benedict Arnold?
That's it,
Yeah.
okay. So we had this conversation internally, and it's funny, when we did worst people in history, the Stalins, Pol Pots, Hitlers, those guys, we considered putting Judas because of the symbolic nature. And in that context, we said, there is some discussion as to whether or not Judas existed. So for a worst people throughout history list, it's better to criteria him, omit him. It's all about context. I always go, we're objective, but within a set of subjective criteria, then we it's a balance of the two. But when you do a top 10 traders, and people think of the Benedict Arnolds, and they think of the Judases, you gotta give people what they want. It's like if you go to an Ozzy Osbourne concert and he decides not to play Crazy Train, you leave rather. If you watch a porn movie and there's no final climax scene, you're also equally
You see what I have to deal with?
Yeah,
These
not
analogies?
satisfied.
Come on.
So my point is, when you're doing a trader list, for us, we discussed it, it just made sense to include him. Now, I'm personally not religious, for those who care. I'm like atheist/agnostic. It wasn't like we were passing judgment. The bottom line, based on the research, the consensus, other list was, even if you don't believe the specific teachings of the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, with regards to the Bible, the consensus does appear to be, regardless of your religious beliefs or not, and again, I'm an atheist, that most of these events and people were historical figures, but they're embellished. I'm not disrespecting religion when I say this, but it's a bit like gonzo, it's a parallel to gonzo journalism, where it's kind of like there's a guy who's reporting on a news story. He's going to embed himself with the people that are creating that story, and there will be elements of facts combined with fiction. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm not touching this.
You're not touching this.
No, my actual thought is, regardless of whether Judas existed, he's still a historical figure.
I mean, it's funny you say, that's a good segue. It's funny you say, I don't want to touch this, because recently Seth MacFarlane, we're going to talk about this a bit. Seth MacFarlane on The Family Guy, apparently in 2009 or 2011, they basically foreshadowed that Bruce Jenner...
another Bruce Jenner joke on the Family Guy.
Recent?
Yes. Well, no, but like before.
Okay.
Where he came out like with a feather boa to entertain the troops.
So they basically foreshadowed that he would turn into a woman. They said that, apparently the quote was, he's a very attractive Dutch lady. And Seth MacFarlane was asked to comment on that, and he's like, wait, I'm way too savvy to touch this, because regardless of what I say, you're going to turn it against me. And he said, basically, and I think this is what most sane people would feel like, look, if that's what makes him/her happy, more power to Caitlyn, so long as it doesn't hurt anyone else. But that's not what I'm bringing this up for. He then said, look, when people are willing to have an adult conversation about this topic, we can then talk about how on Family Guy we touched on this and we foreshadowed this. But right now, the outrage industry is out of control and people get mad about everything. And it kind of echoes what Jerry Seinfeld said about not going to perform at colleges because people bitch and complain about everything. So the Judas...
Especially college students.
Especially with college students, it's true because they're very, very sensitive towards anything. And it's like Chris Rock says, it's no longer, hey, look, that's the black kid from my math class. It's, hey, there's the kid with the red shoes. No, that's the black kid, It's like, okay. So to kind of like transition with the traitor list, people emailed us and there was like 1,000 comments on a thread, so we did want to touch base on that. But it's funny because we had another gentleman or lady, S. McGowan, email us and say, I enjoy your videos, but you guys, oh my God, I'm unsubbing because you guys included Joe Lieberman. Well, again, Joe Lieberman, a Democrat who basically crossed lines, party lines, and decided to run as a vice president candidate with Republican John McCain, sorry. Well, I mean, that is considered treason, and it's not like we invented that. When we do our research and we see that he is, you search Joe Lieberman, what's the first thing in Google autocomplete? Traitor, let's say. So for us, it wasn't like we were making a political commentary. It was that if all of a sudden other lists and other experts and other people that have looked at traitors consider Joe Lieberman some form of traitor, even if it's not on the scale of some of the other traitors, then we would be biased to exclude him. Get it? So that was the irony. So when I read that, I said, yeah, regardless of what we do, people are going to bitch and complain, and it's fine. That's why we kind of no longer, Dan always says, he goes, Ash, you're crazy. Why would you, I always say I'm a masochist. Last week I made a mistake. I said I'm a sadist. Here's the truth. I'm probably both. But he goes, why do you even bother explaining these picks? Because then you have to kind of explain each one. And I think Dan's right. I think it made sense to do that early on when we were trying to establish our authority and credibility as like the leading top 10, crew. Now we kind of were so big, such a heterogeneous audience that, I mean, look, one guy's offended because we included Lieberman, the other guy's offended because we included Judas. I mean, people are offended by their own shadows. It's really not our problem anymore. Mic drop. No, sorry.
I'm thinking of that other email we got, so now I'm feeling like
the American who accused us of being, patriotic. Yeah. That's also crazy. Come on. All right, go on.
Okay, number 3. Summer hiatus for Inside WatchMojo.
Yes, that was a way to bury the lead. Okay, so the same way that we were doing What's Your Mojo and WatchMojo FAQ in the, let's say, fall season last year, and then come Christmas we took a break, and then we were kind of we weren't moving offices, we got this extra space downstairs, and then we came back with Inside WatchMojo. I always kind of envisioned that at the beginning of summer, which is now, notice the skirts, not the pants, basically. That we would take a break. It's just a lot of us take vacation. We actually, do take vacation. Some of you are always concerned with how much we work. So it's just easier to go on hiatus for X period of time. Don't get me wrong. One thing I want to point out is this show is, for me anyway, has been proven really, really effective and smart if there's something you want to achieve or promote. Like when we launched the Spanish thing, what could have been a 6-month undertaking, the Spanish WatchMojo Español, what could have been a 6-month undertaking, countless of hours, dead ends, was really, really effective and streamlined because I was able to galvanize the troops here, which is great. And last week we talked about the suggestion tool and we wanted to promote some features. And again, we got lots of feedback. Cool. But the thing that we want to change is, I haven't made up my mind. You guys are welcome to chime in as you always are. I think what we're going to do is during the hiatus is some of the things we touch on this show, we will still do, but post it on Facebook, which has emerged as our Watch Mojo Lite channel. Right? Give us some examples of some of the things we've been posting on Facebook.
Well, we've been experimenting with short form kind of, this is in the news right now videos. We've been doing the quickies though, or is that what we're calling them? Quickies? Quick cuts?
Are they the quick cuts, quickies? Quickies are something else, Rebecca. What have you guys been doing downstairs here?
Those I'm loving. They're just basically our top 10s edited down to awesome sound bites.
It's like kind of a trailer for our top 10.
Yes.
So it's like, let's say top 10 nose, it's just the nose. Or if it's top 10 Nick Cage performances, it's just Nick Cage acting extra cuckoo without the commentary and the longer sequences. It doesn't work for everything, but it works for a lot of our videos.
While we're speaking of Facebook, can I plug something?
Plug away. That's the purpose of this show.
We actually have a contest on Facebook, so you should go there and you should like us and you should check it out. But it's only for Canadians, I'm sorry, and that guy's gonna
be, that's way to, wow, thank you.
It is around the movie Inside Out, the new Pixar movie that I'm super excited about, and it comes out today. So go to our Facebook and check out what the contest is.
This is like the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, and it fits like a glove. I'm saying we're not, okay.
I meant to bring the prizes down and I didn't.
That's fine, we'll show you great pictures of it. So one thing is, and then we may still do the occasional kind of sporadic, but instead of filming it on a Tuesday and then sitting on it till Friday, look, if next week we decide to go into, you know, Watch Mojo Poland, which we may, or Watch Mojo China, which we may, or we may decide to launch a new, you know, trivia or whatever, some kind of new app, we will shoot something like this, whether it's inside Watch Mojo or it's basically like a board meeting. You guys are like the directors of Watch Mojo, so we meet, you guys give me feedback, you tell us why we suck, a lot of you tell us why we're good. But the point is, we may do something like that, where it's shot and then we publish it like right away because we're trying to get feedback on something. But let us know what your feedback is, what you liked about Inside Watch Mojo, what you didn't like, what you would like to see it evolve into, because the summer in Montreal passes by very, very quickly.
Fact.
All right, so...
We can't waste it working.
There you go.
So was that 3 and 2?
Yeah, we kind of segued. Yeah, so the point was, during the summer, just to recap, that's what we're going to do. Some of the elements of Inside Watch Mojo are going to live on Facebook, and some of them are going to be sporadic, maybe a monthly version of this show where we just give you updated stats, like highlights, you know, F-ups that we did and whatnot. So that's 2, yes. And then you could follow us not just on Facebook, also on Twitter. If you really like some of the Inside Watch Mojo data, facts, things that we did or not, you could always follow us and myself on Twitter. Do you want to give out your Twitter, or do you want to keep that like just for those who go out of their way and look for it? Which I'm basically...
We can, if you
All right,
want.
so we'll flash our Twitters as well if you want to follow what we do.
Also Instagram.
Also Instagram.
Yeah,
Dan's on Instagram.
That's true.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram.
I know. What do you post on Instagram?
Well, last night I posted, I was at the Canada versus the Netherlands women's FIFA.
What's your impression of
soccer
the soccer teams?
Well, it was my first ever live soccer game that I had been to, so I was very excited. The Canadians seemed really positive and really just upbeat, and I don't know, they seemed cool. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, it's fine.
Outtakes from Inside Watch Mojo.
Yeah.
All right, and number 1?
Number 1, changes to topics.
Yes. So I hinted at this last week. So I know you guys love to see Rebecca, and that's all good. So what we're gonna do is you're still gonna get your weekly dose of Rebecca. What we decided to do is basically take topics, which is our series that Dan has been hosting, featuring other YouTube things, channels, and effectively people and videos, and splinter it into 2. You're gonna have topics channels, which is what Dan used to do, that Rebecca's gonna now start to host. That'll focus more on things that have an element of continuity. So either a channel or a personality. So Phil DeFranco was Phil DeFranco, Sexy Phil, and then he goes on and launches SourceFed, which becomes this, you know, playground and stepping stone for others. The sum of the parts of his accomplishments are considerable, and maybe looking at just one of his channels underestimates his contributions to YouTube's history. So that's what you're going to take over. And then Dan is going to basically segue. Since he's looked at a lot of channels now, he's now going to focus on topics, single videos, basically. So specific, like top 10 funniest videos or specific pranks. And instead of just looking at the whole channel, just look at individual videos. So those will each be weekly. So Dan will have his show and Rebecca will have her show. And you guys should suggest ideas you want on the suggest tool under the topics calendar. Are you excited about that?
Sure. Of course. I like to talk, so I like to hear the sound of my own voice.
Cool. So on that note, anything else?
No, but I don't know if we were clear that this was the last episode.
Well, it's the last episode under this weekly format that's like published every Friday. And I'm giving thoughts over the next week on how this will evolve during the hiatus. Is it going to be a monthly? Is it just going to be on Facebook, shorter? Is it just more raw? I mean, you know I always listen to you guys, even though sometimes I probably shouldn't, haha. So let us know in the comments, email us. And until then, see you next time. Hasta luego.
Have a great summer.